think we're live. There we go. Hopefully I got this right. Hello, everybody. So, hi, my name is JJ Asgar, and thank you for joining us for this the stream. I am here with a longtime friend now, Brian. How about you say hi?
Hey, how's it going? So I'm Brian Tanis. I'm a developer advocate at Red Hat. I focus on OpenShift.
And I've got a new friend now. You want to say hi?
Hi, Ryan Jarvinen. I'm also on Brian's team, developer advocate on the OpenShift effort at Red Hat.
Awesome. Nice to meet you virtually. You're pitch hitting for Jason today, yes?
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Just
awesome.
heard about this this particular meeting as of yesterday, so ready to roll.
There you go.
Last
Perfect.
minute join. That's how we roll here, right? I think I don't know. Jay said he might try to crash the party at some point, so I don't know if he'll do it.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It'll be interesting. That'll be one thing. So we in the typical first 15 minutes or so of the stream, we all know that the Twitch algorithm basically makes us scrub time, if you will, before it starts like promoting you. So we like to kind of go over some of the stuff we like to do during the stream, and also some other things that are happening. Brian, you were mentioning a minute ago, next week is going to be pretty busy for you. You wanna talk about some of those things?
Yeah. It's not just me. So everybody at Red Hat, pretty much. So next week we have Red Hat Summit, which is our big customer event that we'll go through and talk about everything. This was going to be an in-person event in San Francisco, but that obviously got canceled because of everything going on with COVID-19 and all that. But it's cool because we were able to, really quickly transform that to a virtual event. And it's starting tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I guess it's Friday. Starting on Monday, we have the first part of that, which is going to be OpenShift Commons. And OpenShift Commons is the community gathering for discussion on OpenShift, pretty much. And in that, it'll be a full day of let's hear from people in the community, partners, customers that are using OpenShift, as well as technical resources in Red Hat that are working on OpenShift with some details around that stuff. So you could sign up for that. That's available for free. And the videos and all of that stuff will also be available on demand after the event too. I'll make sure that I'll post a chat in the Twitch stream so you'll be able to access that and you can sign up and whatnot. So it's all day Monday as OpenShift Commons. And then after that, Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be Red Hat Summit. And Red Hat Summit will have everything relating to Red Hat. It's going to be a virtual event. There's going to be lots of different sessions, tracks. Everything's going to be available on demand as well. And it's pretty sweet because before, whenever it was an in-person event, you'd have to pay to go. Now it's free because it's virtual. So we're allowing everybody to access it. And you guys definitely should check it out. It's cool. I'll post some chats here on the stream for those details. Ryan's actually got a session that he's going to be presenting at Summit.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us a little tidbit of that, Brian? What are you doing there?
You bet. It's available in the session lineup. If you find that link to the virtual summit schedule, you could search by my name, Ryan Jarvinen, or the topic of this talk is getting started with OpenShift for developers, which is confusing because it's the same name as a book that some of my teammates wrote a couple years ago. So sorry, apologies to Grant and Graham for stealing their book title, but it was I think a good way to summarize kind of most of what I wanted to talk about. There's a subtitle on it featuring Odo, which is one of our command line tools. So I'm going to be showing some my top ways of kind of distilling developer productivity from OpenShift, given the type of work that I generally do, which is most of the time JavaScript.
So we got a nice little snide comment saying it's I thought it was Odo, not Odo. Is there an official way to say this? Is it the dude from Star Trek DS9? Odo? That's all I hear in my head.
Yeah. If this is let's see, I had a joke about this in my talk at Summit. If you're looking for the shape-shifting head of platform security, that one I believe is pronounced pseudo or sudo, maybe. This so
Long
you
debated topic, right?
you could depending on how you pronounce that one, I would say you could pronounce this one Odo or Odoo, because we are trying to make it kind of the OpenShift do command, similar to su do, or switch substitute user do. Is that sudo, or is it
sudo?
Sudo or sudo?
I would say do, like sudo, right? That's typically how I've done it, because thinking of like, hey, we're having one user do something else as somebody else, right? That's how
I just do everything as root.
Security, what?
Multiple accounts on a system? No, you only need one account, right?
Exactly. No. It's the GIF versus GIF argument. It's all that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah. For most folks on the OpenShift team, I think as long as you spell it correctly and it parses on the command line, that's the main thing we're gonna care about. So yeah, but I pronounce it Odo, and hopefully that's not confusing for folks. That's what I've heard a lot of folks in the OpenShift team. But Brian, let me know if you have a differing opinion on that one.
No. Odo, like, I mean, all that matters really, type ODO. Like, that's what matters, right?
I have heard some folks say ODO as their preferred way of, just like I hear some folks say kubectl. I frequently say kubectl just so I don't have to be involved in the back and forth between, is it kube control or kube cuddle?
Yeah, that's also the weirdest.
You want to cuddle your Kubernetes. You want to cuddle your Kubernetes. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've always said kube control. But I guess that's like, I mean, going with what we've done before on here, like OC get PO, like we want to save as many, syllables and letters as we can. So, kubectl might make sense. Kube cuddle.
Awesome. So I was lazy. I'm not going to lie. And I have not put together an agenda yet of what we were planning on doing. So we discussed it a little bit before we started streaming, and my insulin pump is being angry at me right now. But we do have a small of a plan. So let's actually put this down on some paper and make sure that if anyone has any suggestions or thoughts, we'd love to see it. But we are planning on, today is April 24th, which is helpful to know. So we wanted to play with some Python, and some Flask development. It turns out the three of us have not done Flask development in a very long time. So this is something great for us all to relearn together, which is always fun, because this is one of those opportunities that we can. We're going to do probably just a simple hello world. World with maybe a goodbye world. API endpoints, just to output them, seems reasonable. And then we're going to put some PEP 8 CDCI checking inside of OpenShift. Seems reasonable, right? And then we're going to try to throw in some security. I can't spell. Don't make fun of me.
You in
security.
There somewhere.
Yeah. Security checking. There we go. And we're going to do some security checking inside of all of this inside of OpenShift, right? So we can just put this down as OpenShift, OpenShift. This is how my brain works. It's not very organized. It's fine. Is there anything else you want to try to accomplish in this time frame? We aim usually for about 3 hours to kind of just hack on this stuff to kind of get done. I feel like this is pretty reasonable. But if you, Ryan or Brian, have any other thoughts, I'd love to hear it.
I think this sounds like an excellent start. I have some thoughts on how we can expand out from here, but I think this sounds like a solid chunk of time of things to dig into.
Yeah, see how our goes, right? I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's something simple that we all should probably know how to do normally. We've got to use container or container level understandings of writing this application, containerize it. We've got to push it into OpenShift and actually show it up on the real internet. Luckily, I have an OpenShift cluster on the IBM cloud already, so I can easily give the links to y'all too, so we can work on it together. So if you want to share your screen and all, but I was hoping to kind of just drive because I'm selfish and the only way for me to learn is for me to actually type the stuff out. And then we'll have fun from there. We have a question in the chat.
Sounds good.
Oh, nope, that was two of our people. Okay, cool. And if we actually do come out with some cool code or anything, there's nothing wrong with us publishing it to GitHub after the fact. So if you're watching this at home later on, or live for that matter, you'll be able to get the code and then be able to do it yourself. So let's. This is probably way too small.
Last week's code is available if we've got follow visitors, right, that are checking out the stream again.
That's right. Last week's code was amazing. We blew a lot of people's minds that this is even possible. So I'm very happy with that. If you didn't know, we got COBOL working on OpenShift in an efficient manner, and that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
I agree.
Okay. All right. So this is normally when I bring up Google and I start Googling Flask app hello world, but that's probably the wrong thing to do here. Does someone have an opinion on how we should even just start this?
What do we have so far? Did you run a git init?
I haven't even started. I've literally created a directory called Python.
Yeah, we got a new directory. So maybe, I don't know, clone an existing repo.
Oh, you want? Okay, we can do that.
Or start on something brand new. It doesn't matter either way.
Flask hello world app.
There might already be something in.
This looks exactly like what we're looking for.
Perfect.
This looks exactly perfect. Let's be lazy, gentlemen. But I learned this recently, and this is how bad I am with Python. You should use virtual environments, right? So, oops. Here's a Python. Oops, not that. Trying to get my keys down. Ah. Snippets. Python. No, where's the other one? I can never remember. It's Python 3 virtual environment. You got to create a virtual environment, right? Is it VNV?
I do not know the particular incantation for this one, but yeah, I believe there's a
VNV, VENV, yeah.
I have it written down here.
I thought there was.
There it is. There it is. Ah, crap. Python. Here we go. Python 3 VNV, then activate. So Python 3 VNV VNV. Oh my God, this is hard. Is that right?
Yeah. So you're calling it VENV. That's fine. Yeah, that should be okay.
My snippet actually worked that time. All right, there we go. Okay. So then we should be able to go source. env bin activate, right? There we go. So now
we're in there.
Now we're in there. Yay. Okay. And my pump is also happy again. Yay. So we need to install Flask. And because we're using Python 3, right, we want to make sure which pip. And as we can see, it is using this bin pip here, but we should check what version of Python we're running because you never know. But we want to use Python 3 because Python 3 is the one we're supposed to be using, right? If you're using Python 2, we need to have a different conversation, right?
I agree. I think,
so,
like, how long's it been since Python 3's been out?
Pretty long time. Pretty long time. All right. So there we go. We're also updating pip because pip was complaining about being out of date. So now we have Flask installed. So we can create a hello.py. And then because we are lazy and we like to just take things because we curl bash everything in our lives now, we'll take some random and code from the internet and we will post it here. If you don't know, curl bash is the best way to install anything on the internet, and you should always do it.
Exactly. No, ain't nobody got time to figure out how to install things. That's what those installer scripts are for.
I don't do a /configure anymore. What? Come on now. Who builds anything from source? Only chumps. Anyway. All right. So we have our app here, and then we can just do a Python hello UI. Oh, we did not do something
copy
correct.
and pasting did not work.
It did not. That is surprising. Is it really that?
That seems right.
It seems like it is, huh? Okay, so then if I do a new terminal here, and I do curl localhost, what number was it? 5,000? Yep, 5,000. There we go. Yay! We officially have our first application up and running. Pretty straightforward. That would seem pretty straightforward. I mean, makes life a little bit easier, right? So we now have our first application. All right. So, there it is. Thank you, Ryan. Oops.
So we got hello. Now we need goodbye, right?
Well, do we want to go ahead and push this out to the internet first as our first release to see that it actually gets out to the internet how we expect it to? Because it worked on my machine, but now I got to containerize it, right? Is that the right thing to do?
Does it work in the cloud? Yeah.
There we go. Let's try it.
All right. So we need something called a Docker file now. Is that right? Docker file.
That would be one way to do it. You could also use the, you might just be able to use a source to image process in OpenShift and pick the Python base image and see if it'll build based on this project's virtual env or pip install, or if you have dependencies, we'll look into your list of Python dependencies and source those.
Well, that sounds like
definitely do that.
All right, I like it. So I will grab this login command, and if gentlemen, you would like this also, I'll send this in the Zoom chat. So if you want to show something off here in a little bit, you can too. I'm not going to send it to the people in the chat room. That's a very dumb idea. There you go. If you so desire, gentlemen. Put this right there. I have access to 61 projects. So OC new -project Flask 1. Now, Jay has taught me now four times, Brian, is this right? That I should use anytime I'm doing development, I call it something with a number because it's much easier for me to delete that project than delete everything else. Just use projects ephemerally, basically.
If we're doing
Correct?
development, I like it this way because that way, like if something doesn't deploy or we need to just scrap that and go to a next one, it's easy to just do new project Flask 2. And then whenever all that stuff's done, we then could, make it a nice project name and all that stuff.
Then we
Definitely.
just we don't just rip it out and rewrite it and go.
Yeah.
We could
There's
try.
always a temptation. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we've got our new project called Flask 1, and we have our Python application here called Hello PY. Brian, being that you suggested the source of image, tell me, what should I do?
We did this last week. So
Hey,
do you remember? Let's put you on the spot.
You never know. Like I'm asking because there's people who haven't been watching it, so I want to see them learn and walk through it. You see how I turn it on that?
No,
Good stuff.
So in here we'll run just OC space new dash app, and then just you give it space and then the directory name, right? And that's all we should need to do to initiate a source image build that has this available here, right?
Should I do the whole directory so it grabs the virtual environment, or should I just do the file?
Well, I guess I don't know, because your like directory pathing like might be within like a Git subdirectory like it was last time, right? Wasn't there like multiple Git repos or folders or something like that?
I haven't even created a Git repository here. All I've done is created a py file.
Yeah, I'd give it to the path to the directory where the py file exists. And if that was,
I should create
it could also be a Git repo, and you could give it the URL to the Git repo if this was already hosted on GitHub and you had already pushed your sources. But let's say we want to verify that this hello world exists before we publish it to the internet. We can verify before we make our commits, and I think that's always a nice thing to be able to do. So yeah, this looks like it should work. New app with the current directory. The trick is going to be we'll have to see if OpenShift correctly identifies this as a Python image. And I think usually it looks for the virtual end file or there's a couple, requirements.txt, or there's a different one you can use other than requirements, but one of those to indicate that it is a Python project. And so we might need to add one of those in. That this might fail if we just do new app with current directory. Might not be enough to identify it as a Python app.
Yeah, so maybe we have to add, because you ran that, so no language match. So now maybe we have to add a requirements.txt and say install pip. Or sorry, install Flask.
Yeah. Isn't there a way to create a requirements.txt from what it's already there? It's a good question. Create requirements.txt. Perfect. Pip freeze. That's the one I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
And we haven't done our pip install yet. We could pip install Flask if we want this to be a Flask app.
We did. We did.
We did. Okay, perfect.
Yes. Nope, that is not what I wanted.
What did that? Did that create two file? Like what happened there? Yeah. Okay. Requirements dot.
And then rm.text.
No, that doesn't.
No, it didn't. That's interesting. That's a weird bashism. Right? I would think they would create two. Yeah. Ignored that completely. Okay, yeah. Hey, so I was actually talking about this on the stream yesterday. If I wanted to change, if I did, hang on, pip or requirements.txt. So if I wanted to do, if I did this, right, and I wanted to change pip to dog, how would you do that? Would you do up arrow and remove the top first three, or is there a bashism that you know that I can switch out the last command with pip? Does it make sense? Like I thought it was like bang bang, caret, pip.
Yeah, there's
log.
some way to do that because bang bang's like, hey, last thing, and then there's a way to substitute, but I don't know what it is. Usually I would go and just do the up arrow the slow way.
So it seems like it's this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
so it is
that
that.
worked. Nice.
And then
I like that.
and then you can actually do the G at the end too to do global. So all
For
that
all of
Vim
them.
stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was just a neat little thing we discovered yesterday because I knew there was a way to do it, but we spent like 5 minutes Googling around and eventually we found it, but still. And by the
Anything
way,
I can do to justify my use of Vim, I'm always happy to point out. Yeah. Perfect.
100% agree.
just to make Brian happy, I have finally my VimRC back up and running, and this is all I have in my VimRC. This is all I'm ever going to have.
That's all that matters.
Hey, that's all. It's my emacs.conf is much more important to me. Just saying.
Oh.
I mean, I'm cool with you using Emacs as long as you're saying that you had evil turned on.
There you go. Well, let's just start talking about VS Code and their implementation of the Vim commands.
Yeah, I was trying that the other day, actually maybe a week or two ago, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Really? What's that?
It's just interesting. I mean, it's different. So like one of the problems with that is what was it? It messed up like visual using the mouse copying and pasting stuff from like inside Visual Code to other apps or whatever. There was some weirdness with that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I had some weird frustrations with that. Even if I was just like in insert mode or what, like, the normal editing mode or whatever, like that seemed weird too. So I don't know. All the VI stuff like was great. Like that was nice. It was easy to work with, all that stuff, but I don't know. It kind of messed up copying and pasting externally outside of the app.
If I got to actually like do pair programming more than like through Zoom as we are right now, I would use this thing all the time.
I've used that before. It's pretty nice.
This live share is amazing. It is so cool. It allows you to really work together.
From that side, I also, hey, like let's log in and you could join my TMUX session and do it old school. That works.
Is true.
Yeah, that's high on my list of developer productivity features is a TMUX or screen, something like that. And I haven't seen it really done well in Kubernetes. So I don't know.
The challenge, right, is that whatever TMUX session you started as, you use the configuration of that tmux.conf of that person's. So for instance, like I rebound split to control T2. So I even rebound control B to control T, and I use 2 to split this way and 3 to split this way, which is back to my Emacs ways of what I know. If we shared my TMUX session right now, and you're like, JJ, I'm going to split something. Oh my God, there's nothing. This isn't working at all. There's a little bit of a disadvantage. So
yeah,
I learned that one the hard way.
Yeah. I mean, like what Jay was saying that last week or whatever, that if somebody basically got on his machine, like back in whenever he had it all configured and whatever, like you're not going to be able to use it, right? Like it's too outside of the normal key bindings, configs, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went ahead and pushed this up, and I did the creating because we have that now. We're doing 3 good. It tagged it. It looks like it pushed it in. And then I did the status, and it looks like it's working. Question mark.
It detected that this was a Python app because there's a requirements.txt file that's in there that has the dependencies that we need. And then, to use it, OC new app, and then that directory, at least at this stage. So maybe do like OC status, see what's going on, or look in the dashboard. Either way, both work.
So we are waiting on image or updates. Python 1 has failed.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You could do that here in the console.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Go to the builds.
We should do it through the command line, because that's how, as a developer, you should be using OpenShift, right? You should do everything through the command prompt. Is that right?
Not necessarily. I would disagree with that. I mean, I think that like whatever is more comfortable for you. Like one of the big benefits, I guess, are things that OpenShift does really well is have that graphical interface that works really well, and you could pretty much do everything in the console that you could do in the command line. I would, pretty much expect.
Okay.
Aha, there's our build error. And you could click on view. There's a view logs link if you want a larger view of it.
Hey, look, our logs are working again. Last time we did this, our logs weren't working.
Oh yeah, so yeah, there was like some VPN issue into the environment. So yeah, that's cool that works. Cool.
The hell does that mean?
So
Our Avengers did not assemble. Is that what it's telling me? Our Avengers did not assemble.
Yeah.
Cannot stat temp source star no such file directory.
Copy upload. So what's going on in here? So it's creating a Docker file, all right? Taking user root, uploading or copying upload source. So what is in that directory? Is there an upload directory in this?
So those are temporary directories that are created within the build container. So there's a container that's created. If you do OC get pods, you'll see that there's a pod that's been created for the build, right?
Yeah.
Build right there. So that container has a couple folders in it. One of them is supposed to have all the sources, and then there's another folder that's supposed to have kind of the output of the build. And we take whatever's in the output folder and then send it into the use that for the image that you're actually going to exec and run for your workload. So those are temporary paths within this image. Those logs that we were looking at were from this particular container. And so we could do OC logs with the container image or the container name in order to get the kind of the equivalent thing to what we saw via the web interface.
Okay,
if
so
you
we're seeing
to do this both ways, right? This is the yeah.
So we're seeing the same errors, but how do we debug something like this? Like this is like it can't find it. Is it because I did it as a / from the directory? Do I need to go up a directory and tell it because then it couldn't find something properly? Or it seems like kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a strange deal. I don't know. I might try doing a git init and a git commit and then pushing this to GitHub and see if you get maybe a different path by having it pull in the repo sources as a kind of a fully qualified path instead of a relative path. I'm not sure if that would make a major difference or not, but that's going to be further down our list anyway. If you want to share and collaborate, this would be on my checklist coming up soon.
All right. So what I've done is I've created I changed the name of our directory to be something a little bit more descriptive instead of just Python, because we're obviously going to share this out to everybody. And then I went ahead and went back into the directory. I did a git init, which creates a git repository. Then I opened up immediately, before anything else, a git ignore, because we don't want to bring in our virtual environment into our git history, because we just want our two files, which are this. And also we should probably have a README too with a license, but one step at a time. We're not going to have to talk about the difference between GPL, BSD, and Apache 2 on this stream. We could, I need a whiskey, and I think I need to call Stallman real quick to get him on this to see if he'll actually have that conversation with us. Right? No, nothing. I saw the giggle from Ryan. I saw the giggle. That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
All right, VENV, and then we're going to do a README because we're going to be good citizens. .md, OpenShift, Python, Flask, example. I personally like this. I like always putting a scope at the top of my READMEs. I learned this when I was working at Chef Software to declare exactly why this repository exists and the planned scope of what you plan. Otherwise, you can have amazing tentacles go out because all of a sudden people want it to do everything. And you're like, no, this is just an example app. It doesn't need anything else.
But I have this amazing feature request for you that would only expand the scope just slightly.
Scope creep is such a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
very important. Cool.
Wanted to create a demo Flask app to work inside of OpenShift. And then just because we're being good citizens, I will go to my source code directory, github.com, github.com, and then I will go into one of mine, and then I will go to node-time, and then look at this, grab this, nope, wrong one, grab this README, and I will grab this guy just because, so I don't have to ever think about this again.
Apache
we'll throw
2.
this down.
Yeah,
Yep,
nice.
turn this into Apache 2. Just
Cool.
so when we push it up, there's no argument. It's in there. Obviously, I'll put the license file in there at a later date. Well, I mean, I guess I'm already here. Copy license to here. And then, most importantly, Brian, what do we do when we put in our commit?
You have a good commit message. That's important.
Yeah. Now, how did we do our commit messages last time? Do you remember this?
Yeah, no, you set up a your what is it, git commit or message or whatever, so that you have that stuff in there already. But basically, you want to say what you're doing, why you did it, what files changed, all that stuff.
Perfect. There we go. So then what we'll do here is new files. We have everything what we expect. We got our requirements, our hello world, our readme, our license, and our git ignore. And then I will commit. And then to what he was saying, we have a nice little git message here of why. The initial commit of our example Flask app. And then runs a hello world in Python 3. Note, have not tested in real OpenShift yet. Okay, and then I'm going to sign it off. But then we can also do a co-author, which I believe you two very much deserve co-authorship on this.
Thank you.
As I
appreciate
silence myself here. All right, so Ryan, I do Ryan JARVINEN. All right,
perfect.
and it is Ryan at Red Hat.
Ryan J. Yeah. I wonder if Ryan at Red Hat is available.
If it is, you should definitely get it. I tried Brian, and that's not available.
Not available.
Brian Tanis. And is it B Tanis at Red Hat? Is that right?
Correct.
I've done it a couple times now. redhat.com.
Although, see,
so now
yours is the right email address. You have the best alias out of everyone at IBM.
Hey, they wouldn't give me JJ. They wouldn't give me JJ. So I'm like, all right, consider it done.
I need something better.
Exactly. Hub create. We do a hub create, and now we have our GitHub repo. So I can do git push origin master. And because we're being good citizens again, we'll set up our tracking of master to that. And that did not work how I wanted it to. e.github git big because it hates me.
And where's the hub command from?
Good question. So I will show that in a moment. Give me 2 seconds here.
Yeah, no problem.
So hub is basically Git. Well, hub is a porcelain on top of Git, but I use still Git commands because they're basically seared into my brain.
Yeah.
But if you go to hub.github.com, it is basically a bunch of porcelain that allows you to create repositories, browse specific places you need to go to, even create gists if you want. It just makes life a little bit easier when you're playing specifically with GitHub. As you saw in that exact moment, it did not make my life a little bit easier. I still had to bring up the git config to change it so it went through my SSH keys instead of pushing into the HTTP endpoint, but that's not that huge of a deal. Basically, I use it specifically for hub fork and hub create.
Hub fork seems like a really awesome way to use it. I wonder if look, it does issues down there too.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That could be useful.
Very powerful. Yes.
Yeah.
You can go down a rabbit hole very quickly with this thing.
No, this looks super useful because there's a lot that is not covered by standard Git that is kind of really critical day-to-day activities that I have as an open source developer that's beyond the scope of Git that really happens on GitHub, and this looks like it covers the other half of the command line I'm looking for.
Yeah, the hard part's remembering, like, do I use Git or Hub once you start doing this?
Or more importantly, you can use Maggot with Emacs with the porcelain for GitHub and do everything inside of Emacs. Just saying, if you want to do. No, nothing.
It's magical.
Not even an acknowledgement of me like trying to troll you. You're just like, no, not even gonna bother. Nope.
I mean, you're not using it, so obviously it's not that great of an idea for you.
I was using Maggot. This is Maggot right here. I'm too lazy to set up the other part. Oh, good stuff. All right, so we've got our code out. We've pushed it. Hub, browse. Oops, browse. Bringing it up.
So in the chat, we got somebody asking, what are we working on today? So what we're trying to do here is we're showing how to get started with a basic Python application using OpenShift. You're going to go through and create like a hello world endpoint in Python using Flask. And then we're trying to push that out to OpenShift using the source image builder and all of that stuff. And we'll be able to access that once we get that part sorted. And then after that, we're going to go through and talk about adding additional endpoints and then adding security context and talking about some of the details around that stuff. Anyways, sorry for the interruption. Somebody was asking.
No, that's good catch up for folks who have joined recently.
I noticed here we did 2019 instead of 2020. That's obviously a problem, but we'll fix that at a later date. And we have our app. And if you didn't know, one reason why we do the co-authored is, as you can see here, everyone gets legit authorship. And in the open source world, it is one of those important things to have. It's to show that, everyone is involved. Ryan and Brian did. That's going to be really crazy to say. Ryan and Brian, it just hit me. They're absolutely going on this journey with me, so they should absolutely have rights to say that they were a part of it. And the get history is how you do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right.
And also,
Excellent,
it's nice having
excellent open source hygiene. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
You need like that background, like clapping sound.
Well, I'm planning on getting one of those stream decks soon, so I can just like hit buttons to do stuff to pop up and be like good hygiene or whatever. I don't know.
Ryan's got it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so back to where we were though. So our new app did not work. So you, Ryan, are suggesting we grab. Do we grab just the HTTP endpoint, or do we need to grab the
Yeah
endpoint?
Let's try that. It ought to figure it out from that.
Okay. Yeah. So this guy with this, yes.
Just the URL to yeah.
Okay.
You can also go through the web interface, but yeah, this would be the command line way to try it out.
All right. Well, I live and breathe on the command line, so I choose it. Nope, didn't like. Oh no, hold on. Still doing this thing. This status is a little busy. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It's running. Still waiting. So it looks like Jay's in our chat now, and he was suggesting by default run a Python app called app.py, not hello. Oh, interesting.
By default, S2I is going to reference app.py is what he's saying.
That is an excellent point. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yes.
So
that goes with it's been a while since I've used Python in a brand new context. But that's fine.
Yep, there it is. It is really not happy. It is really not happy. Okay, so Ryan, if we were being a good developer here, what would we first change?
Oh man. Well, let's see. I would you could rename the file to app.py.
Not create a new branch.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if I'm really doing the proper hygiene, git checkout -b and we can call this rename or app rename, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Jay's like work directly in the master like a real man.
he's not wrong, but we are trying to do the right, we are trying to show the correct way to get a very simple Python, hello world Python app working in OpenShift, and this is a core part of that system. You need to just make sure you're doing everything the right way, so when you do larger things come back together.
When you're working with a team, you have that practice of doing it the right open source way so that you can work and not stamp over other people's stuff and do blah blah blah, right? So
this is good.
That is important.
I don't have a fancy shell that indicates my current branch, so this has clearly already shown that we've switched branches to app rename, but usually I run git branch as my next step, and it should show whatever my working branch is.
Just to validate.
So there's a star next to the app rename. So if you don't have your fancy shell enabled like this, then git branch will help you confirm.
I think generally I would do that too whenever I'm don't notice that in the shell. I won't do that. I think I'll do git status, which I think also tells you, hey, you're working off of this. Oh, no, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
There you go.
No, it
Oh,
doesn't.
no, it does.
Oh, yeah, it does. It
On
does.
branch
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got a clean tree, which is good to know that you don't have leftover work from yesterday's experiments that are going to clutter up your current scope of purpose. So let's see. Next, I'm always tempted to rename the file, but then that ends up having my Git record history not cleanly tracked. So I need to do Git mv and use get to rename the file, or get move to rename the file. And then I'll be tracking the rename appropriately.
There we
And
go.
then it should say, renamed instead of added and removed.
That is the one thing that I usually do that always like, oh, hey, like this file's been deleted, this file's been added. Usually Git figures it out, but like I'm trusting the system to do it versus telling it beforehand. And, you know, I think that's a better way to do it, obviously. And I always forget that.
I've used the MV instead of using Git MV, and I have seen that it's done it says rewrite. Well, actually, let's show this. So when I do this, restore stage. So I'm doing this back here. .py, right? So git status. Oh geez, did I make this worse?
So you just do like rm app.py because it's untracked from Git. So you restored the previous like thing that got moved, but it didn't delete the new file that you moved, right?
Got it. Okay.
So it's not tracked in Git. So if you just delete app.py, it'll be good.
There we go. Okay. So we're going to come back to the gap, but I was curious to see if we did MV hello to app here, not using the Git. I wanted to show the difference. I was expecting to say 100% rewrite. That's what I was trying to get to. Where
you might need to do git reset app. Wait.
Back to the head.
Yeah, maybe. Git reset head, maybe. Well, maybe, I need caps.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Git stream by IBM and Red Hat, where we're just going to get real deep, real fast. Oh, good call. Good. Try a new branch. Git.
Yeah. What branch are we on?
Master. Status. Okay. Well, anyway,
you could
that's not a big deal.
Git checkout hello.py will bring it back. You should be at master right now.
Yes, we're good. But we have app.py that got added. So now we're back to master.
Yay, there we go.
Here we are.
All right.
Yeah. So if we do hello to this, instead of using the app, I just wanted to show the difference. That was the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was not expecting that. I was expecting to see that. Because we haven't staged anything yet, have we? Git add.
So you could do git add on the app.py. And then try status again. Let's see if it's, I think it'll it's lost track of that file. It sees it as two separate. And so that's why the get move is important.
It is fundamentally easier instead of using MV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I feel better. Now, though we did all this stuff on master, right? And that was bad. We acknowledge that, but can we create a branch right now and then not have to worry and then commit to that branch and then push that PR up and not have to worry about that? Does it make sense? Because we've already committed something here. We haven't
staged it. It's not committed.
Staged it. Good point. It is staged. So we can create a new branch, right? JRB,
that's right. Yeah.
Rename. There we go. So now we can commit. And then we say rename hello to app for S2, S2, S3. S3? No?
That's
Okay.
two.
S2.
Source to image.
There we go. And again, we are being good citizens. So we are going to pull this off. Oops. And then do Ryan, Jarvin,
Perfect.
Ryan,
Ryan J.
redhat.com. And then my buddy Brian, always there for me.
Yep.
Brian Tennis. Brian or B Tennis. There we go. So now, oh Jay, come on now. It's cute though. You're there for me too, Jay. You are there for me too. Okay. So there's two ways of doing this now. Now we can either push this up directly and do it through the GUI on GitHub, but we also can use that hub command. I don't know, git push origin rename. So now we're pushing our branch, we're change up, and now it comes up. And luckily, now GitHub actually gives you a nice little link to do the stuff. But what we can do with Hub is do Hub pull dash request and brings up your editor again, and then actually creates it for you, which is kind of cool. Another advantage of Hub right there.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
I
then
like that. Working with pull requests from the command line, that's way easier.
Yep. And I'm sorry, I actually need to take a phone call real quick. I will be back in just 2 moments.
No problem.
Maybe we take a break because we're about an hour. Might as well.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, we could take a short break. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah,
I'm gonna go through the chat and while you folks take a break and see how things are looking there.
that sounds good. I will be right back.
Yeah, cool.
All right, it's cool. JJ, are you muted or is it just me? Can you guys hear me?
It is. That was absolutely me. I am so sorry. I did the hardware mute there. Yes. Sorry, that was one of those moments that your doctor finally calls you and you're like, well, I guess I better pick that call up. So it's all good though. Let's push for another 30 minutes and we can take a little bit longer of a break. I have old man legs, so I like getting up and walking around every once in a while. Because, this gray beard doesn't come out of nothing.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Anywho. So, here we go. Now, I, by default, have DCO on all my stuff, which is weird because that's exactly what we did. We actually have DCO on our commit message, which is kind of odd. It could be because I didn't put too many. There's too many. I didn't put a line in this thing, right? So if we do, oops. So this is just a weirdness with DCO bot on specifically GitHub. If you did not know, git commit -- amend. Git amend is one of your best friends, especially if you live in the OpenStack world.
You got to have that perfect commit message.
Absolutely. So then I'll save that and commit it. Git push origin rename -f. The -f is to force it to be like, what I have on my machine is the source of truth. Do as I say, do not pass go kind of thing. Then we should go back here. Nope. Should go back here. And there we go. Now that I've pushed it up and actually put in a line instead of just blanks as we saw here. Oh. Damn.
Yeah, why doesn't it like that?
I don't know. Let's try that. What? All right, let's try this. Did I just spell my name wrong? Oh, it's because my GitHub.
Again?
No, see, as you see, I have my IBM. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have both emails registered against your GitHub account?
Pretty sure I do. Pretty sure I do. But I guess we should dig into that one. There we go. Okay, cool. So we changed our names.
So it doesn't like awesome at IBM.com, unfortunately.
It's not awesome. It's not awesome. It's not awesome.
Awesome.
Denied.
So we got this good. We're gonna go ahead and merge it. Oh, look, see, there it is. Awesome at IBM.com.
Yeah, it is on the weird.
All right, verified. There we go.
Yeah. See,
got the green checkbox and everything.
Yeah. Don't understand. It's all good. Okay. So we go ahead and check out master again. Master, and we go ahead and pull. I like pulling. I know people like fetching first. 9 out of 10 times, I'm usually behind whatever merges have happened, and I just need to pull anyway. It's just a good habit to have, is to pull, right? Is just like when you get onto a new brand, or when you get into a new directory, or if you're doing some development work, especially when you're working with a team, use git pull just so you can bring everything down. When you start doing more advanced Git workflows with other teams, it's going to be a little bit different. But if you're just basically feature branch, small, behind the times, git pull, get a branch up, but back up, you're good to go. Is that a good way of describing it? Or am I losing
Check out master, git pull, go back to your feature branch, and then do a merge with master, right? Or
Rebase.
What's the right way?
Rebase.
It's rebase.
Yeah, for me, I always want to make sure I've done a pull before I cut a new branch, so I'm not cutting from a outdated master and ending up to having a rebase over a larger period than is necessary. So I think that pull's critical to making sure I'm cutting somewhere further down the history.
Mm-hmm. So we actually have a question in the chat. Hello, brothers. MB, you have stream with front end and IBM. So I'm assuming the question is, are you looking for some front end development, like with what is it, React or Vue or whatever, with some IBM technologies behind it? Not on this specific stream. We are playing with OpenShift and OpenShift on the IBM cloud, and we're doing some simple hello world level Python deployment to show off the power of using something like OpenShift to get the velocity that you want for your developers. A lot of the time, people get lost in like how would just a simple example work, and we are walking through what we think is a simple example and all the different steps that you might have to go through. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm not even going to bother trying to say that name because there's two Y's in it at the very end, and that does not feel like something I could pronounce if I tried. So cool. All right, so we've gone ahead and done this. So now that we've already pushed the new app up. How do we push up a new version of this app, right? Because we know for a fact that, where is it? We know that this one did not work. So if we do OC status, we still have it broken, right?
Well, the
20 minutes ago.
The nice thing about already having that new app created, if we've done our push, we can now run, I think it's OC new build or something. You can kick off a new build from the command line. Let's see if that's the right command.
So we need to create something on the image stream or source code location. So we still have to tell it then.
So we already have one.
We have a name. We just need to figure out what the name of what we used was, right? Is that what we have to do?
So that would be this thing at the very top, right?
Flask 1.
This guy? No, that's the project.
Yeah,
It's
project
this thing,
Flask
isn't it?
1. RCP Flask.
Yeah.
Is that the right one? Yeah.
I think so. So OC new build OC Flask like that?
Yeah, let's try it.
New. One source repository URL. So this thing?
No, this doesn't seem to be, let's see.
Yeah, it already has that.
Google.
Yeah.
Another little button I need to throw up on the stream. Google.
Right.
To turn it into like one of those old radio shows that would, more shock jock radio shows. Things. No. Okay.
I mean, Ryan has like that button to do clapping, so like there could be like a Google button too, right?
Just need to upload a new audio file. Would be easy to do. Yeah. OC new build. It says you could specify an image stream. I wonder if OC get is. Let's see. New build. You just tried OC Python Flask. I know it works if you jump to the web interface you can click on Start Build in the web UI.
Yeah, let's do that and see what it does. Because like sometimes exactly, like if I can't figure out exactly what the particular CLI command is, I'll go to the web interface because again, the web interface does pretty much everything.
So there's actions in the top right.
Yeah. So I hit action. Yeah, you did that. So it's running, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
So go to the logs and see what's going on.
All right. Just thinking about it.
So in here, it was called what? Start build. So is it OC start build?
That's according to Little Helper Boat. Sorry, that's what they said.
Yeah, that seems right.
Oh, there we go. Things are happening. We got past our Avengers assembling.
Yeah, we're looking good, right? So we're successfully pushed. So our build's complete. So our app should be running now, right?
That's a good question.
So you could go to the topology on the side. And there we go. We see a deployment config for that guy. And it's running, indicated by that blue saying that, hey, the circle's blue. We've got one pod running, or at least one pod. And we're good, right? So under resources, yeah, we have a service, but this isn't exposed externally. So we're not able to access it externally. We have to add a route to be able to do that.
Now it says 8080. We know our application runs on port 5000. Is that going to be a problem?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what, in your opinion, what would be the next thing we need to get done? Do we go ahead and expose it and try to force it, or should we fix this 8080 problem first?
The order doesn't really matter. I don't know.
Okay.
You can go ahead and expose it first. If you click on the name of the service,
sorry.
or yeah, command line's always the nice way to do it as well.
Okay. OC expose. Isn't it just that?
The service name.
Yeah. SVC slash what is it?
OC Python Flask.
Let's see if that's.
I exposed.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay.
You could do OC get routes, or you could look in here, and this shouldn't work. So if you click on it, because the service is pointed to the wrong port, right? That should not work. And it doesn't.
Correct.
Yep.
So we'll have to edit the service. So you could do that in the command line or on the web. It doesn't matter. And tell it to point to the right port. Yeah.
Let's do it through the command line because I don't know the commands for that. OC's service edit? Something like that?
Flip it.
OC edit service.
All right.
And you'd need the name of the service as well, I think. Oh, maybe this does work.
So if you do OC edit service without any of that, is it just going to try to edit all the services? So like if you close this, like I think it'll what? Try to open another service, because there's two services in here. Maybe there isn't yet, because that one build didn't happen.
Yeah, looks like it's no.
Oh yeah, there you have both of them in here. Exactly. Yeah.
So I could delete it, couldn't I?
I'm not sure. We could try that.
Yeah, if you delete that one in here, it should delete it. I think it should delete that one, but it'll get recreated because there's a deployment config maybe that's telling it that it needs to have that. So it'll realize that, hey, you deleted a service when something might request, I don't know.
Oh no. Oh, Emacs failed me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, uh-oh.
Wait, what happened here?
Hang on.
He's switching to a superior editor. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, that didn't actually work. Oh, no, it did. It did. Sweet. There we go.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Something broke.
5,000.
Okay.
So refresh. Maybe not.
No.
Well, you got to switch the port number in the URL there. Does it have 5,000 encoded in there somewhere or not? Oh, I guess not in this in the route.
Oh, maybe created a new route completely.
No, that I think the route should stay the same. You should check the pod to see how the whether the pod is set up for 5,000 or not. If the health check, let's see if the health checks are passing, and it looks like we've got a green. Or let's see, that's the deployment config. Can we check the health of the main Python Flask pod?
So click into the pod where it says Python Flask. You were there. You could do it from there.
Yeah, that pod there. And if you scroll down, I think we have. Do we have a health liveness probe and any information
No.
about the port in here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Go
Well, if
to
it's
the-
not failing, that's a good sign. That probably means we're doing our health check on the right port, or it means we don't have any health checks configured. Might be good to look into it one way or another, because having a reliable way to check the health in an automated fashion is definitely part of how you want your containers set up.
Is it in this YAML file? No, doesn't look like it, does it?
Well, the pod details are automatically going to get recreated anytime the pod fails. And so if you want to actually make the change in a place that where the changes won't be lost, you probably want to make the changes in the deployment config, and that will have a pod template stuffed within the deployment config. And then anytime the pod goes missing, we'll use that template to create a new pod. So you could type it all out, deployment config, or DC is a shorthand for that.
Oh, hold on. We want to do
And then DC,
OC Python.
yeah, Flask.
So we don't have everything in there?
The name. Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
We can edit that specific one based on the resource type and resource ID. And so there should be a section that says, I think it's called template. If you scroll down a little further, here we go, template. So this is a pod spec that is stuffed within our deployment config spec. This would be the same if we were using a standard deployment resource in normal Kubernetes. This just has a couple extra handlers that deployments don't have. So let's see, there should be some information about the port number in this containers area. So you could see container ports 8080 currently. We could fix that.
Okay.
And then you're saying in here we also would put a health check.
So the liveness probe, I'm just going to search Google right now for Kubernetes.
Google button.
Liveness. Yeah, Google button. Seriously. Kubernetes liveness probe. And I will share a link to the top match I got from Google in the Twitch chat. So this is a link to configuring the liveness, readiness, and startup probes. So it looks like the line that we want, there's a liveness probe line you can add in. This looks like a more involved example. and
The
what I want.
HTTP request one. So go to the next block of sample, so that you could like specify, hey, the path would be / because that's all we specified so far.
Yeah, I'd probably do something similar to this example minus the headers part.
So this
Unless
is a good
we're going to
question.
respond with a custom header of awesome.
I think we should create this health one, because wouldn't that be good for our app to have? Because we would have a health check for
exactly, and that's a common path. Like that's the default common. And so usually, if that's proving that, hey, like Python's rendering our application correctly, at least, and what you would expect out of that would be, let's echo out a reply or okay. I think, I think that you could put anything here, but generally I've just seen okay, and that works fine. So yeah, we should add that to our application as good practice.
Yeah, generally folks may start with just the default route, check to make sure index.html or the default route loads. But ideally you'd want to go optimize your health check later and hit a health path or a health Z path. And then you can even standardize the health response, or configure the liveness probe to look for a specific response, like a specific header, or further details can kind of be customized based on the upstream docs there. But yeah, just having the basic check of the root path and the correct port number is a pretty good start. You also need the interval is a useful thing to have. But the headers you could potentially get rid of, and you could set the path to the root path if you wanted to cheat.
And your port would still be 5,000 or 5,000 in this example.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
And
So
you don't have the header, so you'll have to get rid of that, right? Or if you don't, then it'll say it's failing, or we'll add it somehow.
Yeah, we should add it, right? Like this is us now telling Kubernetes. Yeah,
we'll have to add it on the health Z path response.
Ooh, did not like line 59. Did not like this security context line. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, we didn't change that. Oh, is it because the liveliness probe is you need to like move it underneath termination message policy because it's in the container spec.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 YY. Paste. There we go. Like that. Is that HTTP headers supposed to be underneath liveness probe?
I think it goes in. It's indented one more. Headers is actually underneath HTTP get.
Oh, so it's even farther.
Yeah.
And path and port are also under HTTP get, so those need to be moved over too.
Yeah, path and port need to go into 2 spaces each, or a tab, and then headers is on the same line. Yeah,
that looks good.
Nope.
So there's What's on 56?
Liveness probe.
Okay, so other details we can add are the initial delay seconds and period seconds, and those should be on the same line as HTTP GET.
Where'd it go? This one? That is not on the same line.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then
Okay.
yeah. Let's see what the API has to say about this.
Nope.
Oh,
Tab character.
Mixing tabs and spaces.
oh man. Set list.
There we go.
It says edit canceled. Or
What?
That was OC saying, you tried too many times. Sorry.
Oh no, it did. It went away, didn't it?
it saved it to a file, so you can try doing, I think, OC apply perhaps on the file, or you could just copy and paste the extra lines from that file that you wanted to add, and then paste it back into another OC edit.
Whoa, that's a problem.
Yeah. So if you run, you're in Emacs right now? Yeah. In VI, I run :set, and I think set list will turn on the visibility for tabs, so it'll I think show a control character, control T or something in space of where a tab is. So I use set list, or wait, is it set list, or that shows? Anyway, there's a way to show your tabs.
So I should just do it in Emacs. Emacs already has everything set up for me.
I think set list, is that right? Maybe not.
We want to put this in the template, correct? Yes, right here. So set paste. And then it was set. Mode. What was? Yeah, what was it called? Set to see the tabs.
Set list.
Liveness probe. Like that. That's right.
Yeah, try hit escape and then type in set list, :set list. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's all. Looks to be correct.
Yay! There we go.
Haha! All right.
Nice.
Excellent.
Okay, now git checkout. Git checkout. Now -b health check. Right?
Yeah.
So we have now added a health check. So we better get that health check.
A new feature to implement before we can verify that our app is responding.
Yep. So that is a new route right there. And it is called healths, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just respond
definition,
with
function name.
Healthy.
Looks good. And then add the Oh,
Return I'm
Cool.
healthy, and then you have to add a header.
yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're right. Now, someone Googling that real fast and give me the link so I can bring it up. Or here you go, Ryan. Do you want to just share your screen?
Let's see. Set headers in a Flask request. Returned request headers. This looks like it might something similar to this might work.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, there you go.
Oops. Wait, so we need 2 returns? That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't, huh?
What do you mean? There's only one return.
Oh no, the one that Ryan put in the chat, but to the link that you sent, Ryan, this looks more reasonable. But that's just a
So-
custom header. That just no, sure. go
I
ahead.
think if you leave off the return statement,
Well, you could also just use the same thing. So add. So you're gonna have to do like you have your response. So go to your code. You have the response already. You just need to. Well,
Yeah.
you're returning.
Take
you
out
need
the
to create
return.
that as a response, I guess, right?
I think there's a trailing double quote that could probably go away. And then if we're not checking for any particular, are we checking for a response content, or are we just checking whether there's a header?
I think there's just a header.
Just
Yeah,
the header,
we
I
don't
guess,
actually
yeah.
need to return any response.
Good point.
So, and that's actually a way to optimize your health checks. You can return a smaller payload by just returning and verifying the header instead of returning the entire HTTP body. So this is a kind of minimal health lookup.
Nice. We accidentally did the right thing.
I
Yeah.
like it.
But we
just
need
to
to fill
verify.
in that custom with the actual with awesome instead of custom.
Is that correct? It's no, it's not here.
So let's see. We lost our. So this is just a basic health check to see if we have any response at all, without checking for the response or checking for the
Yes.
header. So we can add in that header qualification, like we were. Yes, here
There
we
you
go.
go.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. That's under the HTTP get.
Yes.
Paste that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fine. Like that?
Not quite.
Yeah,
No.
scoot it
They need-
over a little more.
2 spaces. Yeah,
There you go.
that looks good.
Then set list. There it is.
Aha.
I'm learning.
Those tabs. Nice.
I'm getting that. I'm doing that learny stuff. I'm a smart man. I do things. I know things. Sort of. All right.
Wait, no, that's still not right though.
Nope. Like that.
That's right.
And then this needs to be push over. No, that's right. Okay. Good.
Yes.
So there's a couple other things, if you check the doc really quick, that we could theoretically add, but we could also totally skip. There's a initial delay seconds and period seconds that are listed there. And so you could have a couple different things, and you could have potentially there's liveness and then also readiness. So you might have an app that needs to verify that the database is up before it is ready, before it reports as being ready. And so you can use these liveness and readiness probes in order to kind of gate functionality of apps rolling out.
Yeah. So which one, like, what would you do for what? Like, why are there both? I mean, to validate that database is up, right?
Java.
But which one do you use for that?
Java.
Well, some of that you'd have to implement on your own within Flask, right? You'd have to have Flask do the lookup of the database, or verify that the connection is ready. You can also ask the Kubernetes API, and the pod that's running your database might also have its own liveness and readiness probes that you can query against. And Flask might be querying against those, but it might also want to do additional checks, make sure that the credentials are accurate, or other things. So if you needed to encode further kind of delays before you reported your app as being like really up and available, this would be the point to add in those extra checks before you start directing traffic into that container. And that's really where these liveness probes and readiness probes are going to hit the integration, is with the routes and your services. The service is only going to start directing traffic to containers that are not just live, but ready.
Right.
And when you're doing that rolling deployment, it's going to need to verify that things are ready before it migrates it into, the next group of live containers.
That's cool.
I just power up my VM when I'm ready to go to production. I'm just like, turn on VM, and I just walk away.
Yep.
That's my readiness probe.
Virtualization, man. KubeVirt, what's up?
It looks like
There you
there's
go.
a line that says container port 8080.
Yes.
Is that what we want here?
Definitely
No.
not.
Good
You
eye,
might
by the
wanna
way.
check this file for other mentions of 8080 just to see if there's any. No? Okay. Cool.
Cool. Good to go.
All my vimming is coming back to me as you're forcing me to use Vim.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have done
All right.
better with the CE on that one instead of delete or insert.
Oh yeah,
delete.
boo, boo. Or change word, CW, change word.
Yeah.
I love that
Yes.
one. Or what is it? Change T to whatever thing, right? Like you can do C. No, there's a way to like just do up to a specific like character or whatever. So you only change up to that one. Anyway,
You could
Yeah,
do
yeah.
like 5J or 5L, or you could do like.
did you
E
not
to get
see
to
me
the
yank
end.
7 lines and then paste them back in there? Did I not do that way? I did.
That was good. That was
I
good. Yeah.
liked that, but it could have been simplified using D instead of YY. You need to play Vim golf.
Won't give me the win. Won't give me the win. Won't give me the win.
Oh man.
Hey, it's learning opportunity right now. Vim Adventures is the way to do that. I love that stuff. If somebody on here isn't familiar with that and want to learn Vim,
Oh yes,
that is the way to go.
Vim Adventures.
Vim-adventures.com.
Yeah, there it is.
It's awesome. Best game ever. Well worth the money, because I think it's like $20 or something, but well worth it. Anyways.
Do we just do a stream of just doing this now? Just
Playing
somebody
Vim
sitting
Adventures. Yeah, we switched. What app are we talking about? This is regular development workflow, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. That was brilliant. Oh, good. All right. So get status. Nope. We haven't actually saved our stuff yet. Oh, we need to change this from custom to awesome. Is that correct?
That's probably what, setting the header name and then the value. So we just want an awesome header with no value, right? I assume.
We don't do custom and then awesome this way. like as a custom header here,
Well,
right? Because wouldn't you do multiple different types of headers?
with a HTTP header, you have like the header name. So the header name in this, I think, would be custom, and then the value of the custom header would be awesome.
Yeah, and we are expecting in our example some stupid computer awesome. We are expecting custom dash header.
Custom dash header value awesome.
Yes. So that would mean custom dash header like that. Right?
I think.
Ryan, you seem like an expert.
I'm reading the Flash docs currently to make sure I'm that we have this syntax.
You're not
correct.
playing Vim Adventures in the background?
No. Tempting. Yeah. Oh, busted. Yeah. All right. You caught me. Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's something, if it's request.headers.get or request.headers set. Because set sounds like, but I'm having trouble parsing through the docs currently.
No worries. Well, how about this? Let's give us a 5-minute break. This is actually a pretty good place to stop. Honestly, I could get up and move around again. But we'll just go for 5 minutes, and I'll put the be right back screen on. Thank you for people who are watching so far. Please don't go away. We will be like right back. It's just I know I need to get up and move around.
And challenge for the audience, if anyone has a link to how to set custom headers in Flask, that's our next task here. So go ahead and drop it in chat.
There we go.
Excellent.
Awesome. We're back. We know traditionally we take breaks. We like to reintroduce ourselves, just because you never know if you just joined on or if you haven't been watching. It's kind of just an opportunity to kind of level set. Hi, my name is JJ, and you are again at the IBM Developer Twitch stream, and we are playing with OpenShift today. I have two friends here. Brian, you want to say hi?
Hey, Brian Tanis. So I am a developer advocate at Red Hat focused on OpenShift.
And I have a new friend here. His name is Ryan. When it gets really confusing when I say Brian and Ryan really quickly. So hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Hello. Good to be here. Doing well.
Awesome. So we are playing with Python inside of OpenShift. One of the things that we've discovered as we talk about OpenShift in public, there's some really great complex examples out there. But if I was just a simple Python developer and I was like, what do? And it turns out we didn't actually have an example of how to do it, or at least I have not seen one personally. So we've decided to go on this adventure today. We've gotten a nice little Flask app up and running. It says, hello world. We've started injecting some liveliness probes. We even actually got it onto OpenShift earlier. We discovered we had some issues with our service ports. We resolved those. And now we're trying to be good citizens. So we're trying to put in a liveliness probe to check for a custom header. And thank you, Babe Cafe. Really, Babe Cafe? Babe Cafe, for the link, which is what we have up in here, to add a response, a custom response of awesome, to our application. If you haven't seen yet, we are right here. And this is what we thought was going to be the answer, but it looks like it's not. So, Brian, you've done some research too. Do you want to walk through what you discovered and tell us what we need to do?
Yeah, so the first thing that we need to do, which is really similar to what Babe Cafe sent, so we need to specify a response using the flask.response, right? And I guess to make it simpler and we're not returning a body, we could just do double quote, but in here we have okay, so we're returning okay as part of that response. But then we're adding response.header, so we're adding the custom header named custom header or custom dash header with the value of awesome. And then we're going to return that all.
Perfect. So if we test this right now, we can run curl against it to see it. But if we actually hit a normal, the website, we won't see anything. Is that correct?
In your browser, you would have to like open up like the inspector and then go look at the response headers to be able to see that. But if you do run that, you'll see okay, because at the very first line of definitions is your in the double quotes was okay. No Python for you.
I guess. I was trying to test it on a local machine before pushing it up. I mean, isn't that the right thing to do?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But when we can't even get Python, that's usually a bad sign, gentlemen.
your virtual environment decided to throw up.
No module named Flask. Pip. Oh, hold on. We have our requirements now, so we can do pip -r requirements. Is that right?
I think so.
No.
I usually
command found.
Use a pip3 or use a.
I usually just run pip install, I think, but if you don't have
pip-f.
No. Yeah, but it's saying.
Yeah, you still need pip. Yeah.
Is it pip3? Do you have pip3?
Our virtual is telling us Python 2 now. What the heck? Okay, go away.
Well, you
removing
did.
that.
You ran that deactivate. Do you need to activate again?
I tried. I tried.
Oh, okay.
Local streams. 20. Today is the 24th. Okay, we're in a completely clean environment, a clean terminal. Tmux session. Cool. Is this because I've been using Vim? Is it breaking because I was okay?
Don't blame this on Vim. That's not fair.
I agree.
Okay. Python version. Huh. Okay. So how about we remove or deactivate this now? Deactivate. Remove this virtual environment.
Start over.
Yeah, why not? Oh, it is -R. Okay, cool. I thought it was too. Source active env then activate. There we go. That's weird. Pip dash R requirements dash F requirements.
What?
How do we install a requirements.txt?
Is it just pip install and then that?
Yeah,
file?
it's not just pip install.
Or yeah, because it knows requirements.txt is your. There. Pip install dash F. Is it like too late in the day for me to think about how to do that?
Yeah.
Dash
Well,
R.
I mean, it did. I did install Flask, but it's there. We go. No. Yes. So it
Already
is
satisfied.
pip install. Yeah, it's pip and dash R. We can't win. It's just you just can't win. Just can't win. Oh man.
Can you cat the requirements.txt file? Okay, cool.
So we're still.
I can tack the requirements tile too. You know.
Ooh.
Ooh, there you go. There's some trivia for you. Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people don't know tack exists.
Start from the bottom, read to the front.
How many times have you done a tail dash F and you need to start at the very bottom of a file? Just like
all the time.
Exactly.
All the time. Yep.
Is that like a standard thing? Is tack really a thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it really is.
See, Brian, what every time you come on stream with me, you learn something new. You do, don't you? Yes.
I like it.
He's just going to be sitting there playing with tack the rest of the time. Though.
Yeah, I'm going to read everything backwards. I do that already anyways. So if I did tack, then I'd just be reading it the right way, right?
There you go. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. So Python and then app. Okay, we're up. So if I do curl dash v, vv, maybe just so we can see a little bit more. Local host port 5000. We should see
/health z.
Good call.
Add the extra path.
Oops. Internal server error. We made it very angry.
What's the if you hop back over to the script, is it still running or is it crashed out?
Lost it. Hang on. Is it this one? Yeah.
That looks right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, it did not like something.
Not defined.
Ooh.
We didn't
Okay.
import Flask.
There's probably
From Flask, import Flask.
Oh, is it app? Is it supposed to be app, not Flask?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right. Yep.
That looks good.
I'm a Python developer. I shouldn't read Python. I'm really not. If anything, I'm actually a Rubyist. LZ.
Hello world.
I'm not seeing header. Did not like it again.
So I still got a 500. So why? What?
Yeah.
No attribute response. Flask object has no attribute response.
Interesting.
I was trying to think. Brian did not find the answer to this question, even though he claims he did.
Thought I did.
And again, we haven't even pushed this up to OpenShift yet because we haven't gotten the local dev environment to work, right? Like we don't want to push this into OpenShift until it works, at least on our local machine. So we'll get there though.
I like the idea of knowing what I'm pushing before I push my changes. So I'm with you on this.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at the Flask.
I am going to be bad. I am going to be bad though, because in the what is it saying? Because I don't want to, spend multiple hours going through the PR process and all that stuff all over again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and locally merge this into master and then push this up to master when we get it to work. Mainly because, well, no, we've already gone this far. Never mind. I'm not going to do it. Though I did mess a lot of stuff up. I don't know. You keep talking. You keep figuring that stuff out. I'm going to get this stuff back to be clean. How about that? Oh, interesting. Not expecting that. Oh, we are clean. Did I lose you? Uh-oh. Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool.
I can hear you. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Although I just did get like a weird, your internet connection's unstable, but
Yeah, I had some kind of buffering issue on my end. Sorry about that.
Buffering. Real player. Watching that real player again? Nothing?
Vim Adventures is taking all my bandwidth.
There you go.
that
There you
makes
go.
sense. It is a pretty high definition game.
Yeah.
It uses
Is this
quite a
where-
few resources.
Is this where we start talking about NetHack?
Hey, we can start playing that.
I actually had a while ago. I tried to get a stream going with some nerds just to play NetHack because I've always wanted to learn how to play. Like I've always wanted just to sit down and play, but there's so much going on that I thought it'd be fun to have a handful of nerds like talk about what you could do in NetHack, and then try to play it together as kind of like a social experiment. And nobody wanted to do it with me.
Hey, man, that sounds. If I could, I would love to have multiplayer, some type, even if it was a NetHack or something like that, some basic kind of MMO, old school MMO running on Kubernetes. I think would be a really cool challenge.
Actually, running NetHack on Kubernetes, that's an interesting story. That's an interesting story. Think about
Make
it.
it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, well so have Factorio run in Kubernetes and Docker, and then have that open for everybody.
I could run my old BBS on Kubernetes, perhaps. Run my old door game. Let's see.
Oh, that's good stuff. Careful. We might have a project being built up here before we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, right?
I am currently looking at let's see, I should clone myself a copy of our repo now that it's available.
So what is the exact error that we're seeing here? So
Yeah, so what's going on, I guess?
curl.
There we go. That's a way better way to look at that.
Flask,
Flask.
object.
Oh, is it because you're doing like, so go edit the app, and is it like you're importing Flask as, yeah. So if you like get rid of we'll change that to import Flask, and then app equals lowercase flask dot flask.
Okay.
I think that, and then maybe the response needs to be lowercase flask dot response. Lowercase flask. So instead of app, make it lowercase flask dot capital response. You could also, I think, do like import response from Flask. The top import command, the Flask, I think, needs to be lowercase f. The very top, yeah.
Like that?
I think that might be better, yeah. Granted, now we're importing everything from Flask, but, you know, what are you going to do?
Hey, there we go. So then if we do -vvv.
We got header.
Custom header, awesome.
There it is.
All right. Yay.
All right.
All right. So
I need
that was
button.
painful. that was painful. Not gonna lie. Get status. So get diff. So those are our changes. We've added a new route with a custom header of response. And we have changed this around. To your point, we are bringing in a lot more stuff than we need, but computers are cheap for IBM. No, they're really not. So we're just gonna.
You could still do what we did, right? And do like from Flask import capital Flask, and then from Flask import capital response, and then you could still like do that stuff to make it like smaller imports. So you do from lowercase Flask import uppercase Flask, and then the next one would be from lowercase Flask import capital response, and then app equals not Flask dot, and then response equals not Flask dot.
Think so?
Yeah, so that should be okay for import statements.
All right. That looked like it worked.
Cool.
Or awesome, maybe.
That is awesome. Yes.
There you go.
Awesome.
There you go. There you go. All right. Get status. Get add -a. Get commit. All right. added a health check. It's important to have. All right. Sign off by Awesome. Co-authored by. Oh, come on. Come on, computers. Ryan Jar.
VINEN. Perfect.
Yep. Ryan J. RedHat.com. B10 US.
Nice.
I always worry that I write brain, not Brian. Happens so often.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I use Docker a lot, I got that command wrong many times. Everybody should know what I'm talking about.
All right. So then we got our PR. We'll create the PR and the should now check.
Nice.
Come on. Oh, it's because again I did.
Doesn't like
Can't
your
win.
awesome.
Can't win. TCO bot. I should add a whatchamacallit to you. Oh yeah, there it is right there. Expected jj@gmail.com. Got JJ at awesome. Yeah.
You gotta add awesome at IBM.com to your DCO bot config.
I really do. I really do. This is ridiculous. There we go. Everyone's happy. Successful. Merge. As awesome. Yes. All right. Then we can come back over here. Get check out master. Get full.
Sweet.
All right. Now we want to do a new build, right? Is that correct? Is that where we are now? Because we pushed our
Start build.
Start build, yeah. New build was not the right one. That was creating a new build resource, and start build is what we should have been doing to basically re-trigger an existing build resource.
Well, hopefully this will work how we expected, because now we have that live witness probe in there to make sure that it's doing what we expect.
So you could do, let's see,
Status?
like I guess OC status or OC get builds, and then follow that one.
OC get builds.
Yeah, BC is shorthand for build config.
This one is running. OC BC.
So I think that second one, that binary one, was one that we accidentally created when we were running the new build command. So that one we could probably clean up.
All right. How would I do that?
So you could do OC delete. Is that right? OC delete BC/Python.
There's a BC joke somewhere in there. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, this completed. OC get logs this. Nope.
I think it's just OC logs.
And then you have to give it a pod name.
Yeah. There you go. Find the build pod. It's the OpenFlask 3 -build. Yeah.
Ah, yes. Okay, this is starting to look okay.
Successfully pushed.
Looks good. I
Nothing
guess.
too crazy out that we're seeing here. Installed Flask for us. Bitching about pip again. Because, pip.
Why not complain
Yeah.
about pip? Sure.
Mine as well.
All right. So get OC, get.
Let's do OC get DC and check our
DC?
deployment config. So it looks like we're on revision 5.
Mm-hmm. You can delete this one, right?
Yeah.
Same point?
OC delete DC/Python. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So how do we see the external, the route again?
Yeah. OC get routes.
Get routes. Okay. Port 8080 again.
So that route is still pointed to 8080.
It might be okay for the route to be running 8080 internally as long as it's mapping to a service that has the right port number.
So the service is 5,000. That's right. So click on the route. So click on OC Python Flask for the route. There you go. And then, yeah, target port's 8080. So if you go like up and click on the YAML tab, we could edit this one in here instead of OC edit, and then just change that port.
This guy right here?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And
Any others?
save, and that should be it.
Do I need to reload?
If you reload, it'll refresh the latest status and all of those things that are down there. You could just go to the overview tab.
So that's the service should be running on port 5000. I think we have that fixed already.
Yeah.
And the pod is running on 5000.
Still not quite there yet.
So what's going on?
Let's take a look at OC get services. Looks like there's an extra service named Python, which I'll delete that one.
Okay.
And then there's OC Python Flask. So we could do. Yeah.
Is it because we're listening to localhost? Do we need to change that to 000?
Yeah, I guess because that'll be localhost only inside that container, right? Yeah. So that would probably be it.
Hey, sysadmin JJ kicking in again.
Yeah. Yeah. Bind to all zeros.
Yep. All right. Flask bind. There we go. Quick start. We don't want that.
Yeah, I think
there's
a way to specify it in Python.
There's gotta be, right?
Yeah, I think it's like app.run or something like that.
I feel like I should read this document at some point or soup to nuts one day. I have a feeling there's a lot of good information here.
I have an example Flask app that I've created in the past if we want to resort to looking up a previous reference. It's definitely outdated, but it's something we can kind of peek into. It does have a couple examples. I'll paste it into the chat.
Oh, under main.
So this one has a big kind of fake out where kind of if you had Flask installed, it would use Flask. If else, if you were using Cherry Pie instead of Flask, it also has information on how to boot your project using Cherry Pie instead. I don't know why you would have an if else in here. Like generally you would choose one or the other. So this is kind of an overly complicated example because it's switching between a couple different Flask as well as other options. But they're using server.run. And then adding the first parameter is the IP address and then the port. And you'd need to create server from the Flask. I guess it would be app.run. App.run with the IP address and then port.
Like that?
Yeah.
So if that's true, we should be able to come back over here and Python app. There we go. I'll listen to everything. Yay!
So that should be it. Cool.
We'll
We'll get this app running eventually, I swear.
It's about the journey, Brian.
It is.
It's about the journey.
It's specifically important in this case because we don't know which IP address is going to be assigned to the pod. They're randomly assigned and we shouldn't care. And so binding to 0.0.0.0 binds to any available IP address that we'd get assigned. So this is the kind of grab all wildcard option that we've chosen here.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have a Emacs macro for this one yet?
You know, you're tempting me. You're tempting me. All right. So then we should do start build, right?
Yep.
And then OC status. Is there a live look that I can look at this through the command line, or do I have to do OC status over and over and over again?
I wonder if you can watch. I doubt you. You can watch different things. Like you could watch the deployments config. So you could do OC watch DC. Oh, this is
actually working.
Streaming? Oh, nice. Okay. Oh
yeah, you could do.
But this is just calling the same command every 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
True, but we're at least seeing the building run here, right? So when it succeeds, we should see that turn into succeed.
Yeah, this is definitely a valid way to do it. But this is basically going to repeatedly call every 2 seconds. You can also essentially tail the API and have the API give you streaming updates. And that would be using the OC watch command.
Yeah, so what do you do for that OC watch?
I don't know if you can watch status though, but you could watch a deployment config.
OC get BC -W, right? Or OC get
that'll work.
-W.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. OC get BC -W.
And there we go. We've deployed our pod. So we should
Typically,
open back
like
up.
what I'll do in that is like what I care about really is seeing the build, like the output of the build pod and the logs that are going there. So I'll generally run like OC get pods,
Hey!
what's available. Oh, heck yeah, it works. And
Yay.
then once I get the pod, see what's available, then I'll do like OC logs of that build pod. And that's generally like how I'll look and see what's going on, or look in the console and click on that logs tab and it works.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Nice. And then you could add the /health, but you'd probably need the web inspector or something to verify that it's awesome.
It says okay though. That's what
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
interesting.
Uh-huh.
Look at the
Web developer,
inspector.
inspector.
Look at the headers.
Headers. Where are headers?
I think like under the network tab is usually where I'll find it, and do a refresh. Just refresh the page.
Oh.
And then click on that top one, and you should be
There it
able to
is.
see. Yeah.
Awesome.
Custom header, awesome.
Yeah. And
Okay.
the API should be confirming that it's continually giving that awesome response via the probe as often as that probe is running.
I did. Oh, here it is. Here's my my thing. Where would I see that? Where would I see that continual ping?
So go click on the name of the pod.
Name of the pod?
Yeah, right there. And then it should have, I think,
logs. Because when we see it inside the logs, we see the logs of there's.
You'd see Flask, like, returning that
right
output because you're logging everything in Flask. But I think there's probably a way to do events. It in OpenShift. Yeah.
Let's see what events has.
Just creating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely a space somewhere. The UI's been rearranged somewhat recently. So I'm not sure if the overview tab has it further down the page, but there's definitely areas where we're pulling that liveness probe, and we would print an error message if it was failing.
Okay.
So like, could you do like OC describe pod, whichever the pod name is, and then in there maybe see it somehow? So yeah, Flask 6. Started pulled skill.
Probably up here, wouldn't it be? There's a liveness probe right there.
It's ready. Containers ready.
It failed 3 times.
Restart count. Liveliness is okay. Yeah.
See that? It failed 3 times.
I wonder if that was while the Flask service was booting. Or something where there's usually a delay between the container OS starting and Flask actually being able to serve responses and the virtual environment coming up. And so it might have hit that probe URL a couple times unsuccessfully before it got one check to pass. And then once it passes, it'll rotate it in behind the load balancer.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe like what in the liveliness probe, we have to set like, what is it? Like a delay, initial delay or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we did the default of wherever we saw on the website, didn't we?
So we did
initial delay of 3 seconds.
We did set that. So maybe that wasn't long enough for this Flask app or whatever to come up. I don't know.
Well, we have so many things going on inside this app. It does take a little bit of time to start up.
I mean,
It's a little bit of a bloated project by now. It's kind of the initial scope.
Creep.
Yeah.
yeah, we've done a little too many things.
What's next on the checklist? How are we doing so far on that?
That is a great question. How about we take 5 minutes here?
Okay.
I'll get another beverage myself. I could get some water. And then we'll come back and we'll have the last little push of however we want. If I remember correctly, we've actually got a good amount of the stuff already done. But where's my agenda? Where's today? Today is the 24th. Yes. Security and checking in PEP 8 entitled, we need to do our CDCI work. So it feels like a good kind of last way to make sure that we build up our pipeline how we want. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. So I'll go ahead and say be right back. And thank you for sticking around. We will be back in about 5-ish minutes or so. And we're back. So yeah, we have done some pretty fun stuff today. I know I've learned quite a bit about OpenShift and how to get it working from a simple little Flask app that we built today. We've gone on quite a few different quite a long journey here, but we're nowhere near done, which is the funny part, because we've done some good hygiene and some good work. But Ryan, want to say hi? And what do you think we should do next?
Yeah, hello, Ryan here. I think next up, man, on our list we had a CI/CD issue, right? What did you have in mind for that? Did you want to add some validation in the pipeline that does a security check, or what's the process you've seen folks use for implementing that?
That's a great question, and I just wanted to make sure that Brian has an opportunity to say hello too. Brian, you want to say hi real quick?
Hey, I'm Brian Tanis. I work on the same team as Ryan. We're both developer evangelists at Red Hat, focused on OpenShift.
Awesome. And in case you're just joining us now, my name is JJ. I work at IBM as a developer advocate, and I try to make sure that people know that IBM has a cloud. Believe it or not, you'd be amazed how many people don't actually know that. It's a running joke we have. Anyway, so yes, it was a good question Ryan had just there a second ago, which is validation and security checking inside of the pipeline. Now, our actual application, if you haven't seen it yet, is pretty straightforward. It's just basically, it sits there, it says hello world, and we have a health check line so Kubernetes can be happy. And we discovered the hard way that we needed to have a host and a port part coded in there to make sure it actually listened to the real thing. So this is something I don't actually know. When it comes to OpenShift, we did some really cool development on my local laptop here. We've pushed it into GitHub, where GitHub even complained because we didn't do the DCO stuff. So we did actually have some CI work already being run there. Then we had to kick off a new build by hand on top of OpenShift to pull the new Git repo down, or the new commit from the GitHub repo, GitHub Git repo. Well, that seems weird to say out loud. And then it rebuilt it and then pushed it out, and then we got our hello world. Wonderful. Now, from y'all's standpoint, where should we put our PEP 8? Because PEP 8 isn't it PEP 8? I'm not crazy, right?
Yeah, so for Python to validate, like all the different things that are part of PEP 8, like there's a PEP 8 check or what, like you run. But yeah, and like what you would do with this at least I think, create a pipeline either using OpenShift pipelines or Tecton or Jenkins to basically go and set up a webhook. So whenever you're going and pushing to Git, you could automatically initiate a build. And then one of those steps in that pipeline would be, let's check PEP 8, right? And validate this stuff. And then once you do that, then you push to push to the actual deployment config, I think. Maybe there's a simpler way to do it that I'm not familiar with, but that's the way that I've seen it done.
I haven't used PEP 8 before, so I'm unfamiliar with this, but I've generally seen kind of a couple different ways of enforcing expectations within a repo. And so you might have some type of git commit hook that does some linting analysis, or provides some feedback to developers very early on in the process. But aside from having a git commit hook and having that local validation, we can also do some amount of validation as a part of the build process itself, and essentially trigger the build to fail if we don't meet certain qualifications. So yeah, either one is doable. And you might even be able to kind of use the same enforcement. I haven't seen how PEP8 works, so yeah, I don't know whether it's normally run from the command line or whether it's okay. All right. Do you have an example?
I think you
I
just
think it's
run
literal.
run pep8, and then on that file, I think there's a way to run it like within your Python code, maybe if you want to validate somehow in there too before it runs. But I think that's the standard way. You just run pep8 space whatever that file is.
As you can see, we already have 2 failures or 2 warnings, which is what I was hoping, right? I wanted this to be like, I chose PEP8 because it's a standard. We don't always do good, correct standards when we're, copying, pasting code from random websites. And I figured there'd be a way to make sure that it would, break. And obviously we have 2 errors right here, which is good for the case of breaking the pipeline, so we can show how to fix it to get the green check marks. Now, my question is do we want to use something like Jenkins inside of our OpenShift infrastructure to check out our GitHub repo whenever we push anything up and then put that back? Or is there a way we can put, where do we put Jenkins in this to do this validation that we want to get done? Is it actually inside of OpenShift? Because isn't Jenkins inside of OpenShift? Am I wrong on that? Or is there a way for us to break into that CD/CI pipeline there, or do we need to create a separate CI/CD pipe? I get it confused anytime.
CI/CD, so continuous integration, continuous deployment. If you're, I mean, really, the right answer to that is if your corporation, company, whatever you're working for, has a existing CI/CD pipeline processy, it likely could be integrated into OpenShift, and you could deploy to OpenShift continuously. If you don't have that and you want to be able to do CI/CD things, you can run Jenkins, or what's coming is Tecton or OpenShift pipelines. I guess it's here, but those things you can run, and they run within OpenShift, and they do that really well, right? And that goes, with the whole mentality that OpenShift is able to be multi-tenant, and it's able to perform these rootless builds. It's able to do these things that are really valuable and things that you would want out of building and CI/CD pipeline things.
Okay.
Yeah, we already have a clean build automation and a path for CI/CD set up. We could set up a GitHub webhook between the repo that we've established on GitHub, and that could do some automation back into our system. So that would be definitely one way of establishing a CI/CD pipeline. Is you could click on webhooks, and then you'd also need to add webhook, and then we'd need the webhook URL from the OpenShift web console is the easiest place I know of. I know you can generate them on the command line as well, but getting that payload URL from the console here is a good way to go about it. I'd go back to the developer view, and then in builds, the builds tab on the left, you can click on that Python Flask build config. And then once that opens up, and then I think events. Yeah, okay, there you go. Yep. And it shows 2 different types. There's the generic and the GitHub one. And they use different content types, I think. So if this one fails, you can toggle the content type and try it again.
Closing some of this stuff because I'm losing track of the tabs here. There we go. Do we need to change this to JSON?
I think JSON is correct. Which type did you pick? Is this the GitHub one? I think JSON's correct for GitHub. I believe. We'll find out. Let's run it.
All right. And it looks like it worked.
So anytime that should trigger a new build based on any change in master, I believe. But if you wanted to set up something more advanced, let's say you always want to build based on a particular feature branch, then maybe you want to bring in Jenkins. Or if you have a large team of people that are doing a lot of merges and you want to make sure that you have a larger continuous integration suite that is run, that you could do that through Jenkins.
So I believe what you're telling me for our little experiment here, to be able to also do the security checking we want to do and this, we should install a Jenkins instance here, right? Why is there, I'm confused. Why is there 2 here?
So there's a one option that says with persistent storage. There's a without persistent storage. That's the Jenkins and Jenkins ephemeral. But it looks like someone may have run the installer twice on this cluster, maybe.
Okay. Well, let's not worry about persistent storage, I guess. Instantiate template? Why did you say install?
Yeah, good question.
That feels kind of pretentious, man.
Yeah.
So hold on. Without Jenkins, we set up a webhook, and no matter whenever we push to master, we'll get a build out of OpenShift, and it'll automatically. So that's continuous deployment. We're automatically getting that deployment.
We already have CI/CD now that we have that GitHub webhook. So generally, I would add Jenkins if I need to do some more advanced build process or more advanced validation. But the security checking that we want to do, we could run as part of our existing build config without adding Jenkins. You might be able to add Jenkins.
I think let's explore that, and then maybe for another stream we'll get into details of like Jenkins or Tecton and go through pipelines and building out a pipeline using that's more advanced, that allows you to do more things.
Sure. In my mind, it was a very simple change to install Jenkins. Make sure you're on a feature branch. Have Jenkins check that feature branch as a PR, right? Do the PR pull request builder against it, right? And then run pep8 against that. And be this works. And then when you merge it into master, then the CD happens. CD happens, because then all of a sudden it would kick off the build and you'd have, you just never, ever can push to master unless you came through a PR. It would have been a policy. But
with Jenkins on OpenShift or whatever, you're instantiating Jenkins on OpenShift, or if you have it running somewhere else, you can point to that. But the one on OpenShift has some stuff built in to be able to interact and push out builds and push out image streams and things like that. So it has the OpenShift DSL stuff that's built in. And there's a lot that we could talk about there. One of the things whenever you do that, though, is you're building out another pipe. So you have to build out the pipeline of how to do those things. So I have an example of that somewhere.
No, well, hey, that's something we do next week, right? Don't get me wrong. I just, in my mind, I felt like it was an easy step to do, but to your point, it could be a whole nother spider web of things.
The shortest path I know of to do this would probably be to extend the OpenShift build system. And I think there's as part of the source to image process, there's a script called assemble that you can define, and you can basically put that pep8 command inside the assemble script.
That is what we need.
Okay, let's do that.
There's scroll up just a tad bit, and it shows the repo structure. A couple more lines above this. Okay. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, this is also OpenShift 3. Is that a problem?
It is, but S2I has been around for quite a while. This is the process that ends up getting run inside the build container, that intermediary container that runs our build. We're going to be, by default, this S2I process runs those builds. With OpenShift 4, we are switching or slowly phasing in to use Builda instead of S2I. But it can kind of be used as a somewhat of a drop-in replacement, achieving the same type of goals. And I think it has some amount of support for this .s2i folder. So if you define .s2i/bin/assemble, you can put a script in there that does kind of whatever, and then I think returns a 0 or a 1. I don't know. You could look at the S2I or back to that blog post for more specifics on the return value, I guess. But it might just check the output of that PEP8, process.
Okay, hang on, bringing it up.
So since we're using the, just specifying the S2I assemble, do we have to specify the Docker file and specify other things to make this work?
We'll be using, no, we don't need to specify the Docker file. This is just showing an example. If you wanted to specify a Docker file, you can try to customize the build process to take advantage of that. I think the only line we probably need is probably that bash line at the top, and then we can echo out some feedback. I'd say we could echo out running PEP8.
But we don't need the copies from source into the directory?
That's a good question. So I don't know. I think by defining this file, we're extending whatever the existing assemble process is. So I don't know if we need to do if we need to run the copy or if that's run for us. I guess we'll find out one way or another. But we can. This is definitely where we can run the PEP8 command. I'll read through that blog post. See if I could find out whether we need assemble or whether we need the copy. Yeah,
well, I've already got a feeling we're going to need some Python stuff in here, aren't we?
Do we need? Well, I guess another thing is, do we need to specify pip install pep8 here, or do you add it to the requirements.txt and it automatically picks that up?
That's a very good question.
Because if the assemble script is like a later stage in the build process, the Docker file build process that's going on, then I don't think that you do.
There we go. Updated the requirements with a new version of PEP in there. So then PEP8 period. Oh, that is not a good idea. Oh, we really made this very angry.
I think we want the pip install in there as well.
In the assemble?
Yeah, we might need the copy and pip install.
Okay.
I think that's going to be basically whatever you would have put into Jenkins.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping to find. This is exactly what I was hoping to learn out of this. Installing PEP8 or running PEP8. Okay. Do we need to put an if then around this? If exit not 0,
I
exit
think
something?
I think just the return value of this. Let's see. PEP 8 has its own return value. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know
It
if it's
does
printed,
echo
yeah.
or question mark. Comes back as a 1. That should be
Okay.
fine, right?
Yeah, I think it'll just use that as the default.
The last command ran, yeah.
Well, I think if any of them fail along the way, the overall build might fail. So hopefully, if these all exit cleanly, then we're good.
Cool.
We don't have to do like any pre-Python stuff in here. Can we assume that we have pip in there?
That is a good question. I wonder if there's it's probably, let me see if I have an example in my in a repo somewhere.
Because it looks like this base image is base CentOS 7 for the Docker file, right? So we can't assume Python 3 for that matter. Do we need to create our own Docker file to have that builder image now? Is that what I'm getting at here?
No, I think that I think that what it's going to do is, what we're thinking is it'll override the assemble script that's there or add to that, and it's going to use the builder for Python already because it's picking that up already using the requirements.txt, right?
Okay.
Yeah, all the
just
things that were in scope before should be in scope. So as long as we're not destroying some process that was establishing a virtual environment or something, I think a lot of that is already done for us via other scripts.
Okay, because my gut seeing that this was a light TTPD or light HTTPD, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that they actually force light TPD in there, though that is not a standard thing to install.
Well,
Python is pretty standard.
In this blog post, they're creating a whole new builder image. We're already using the Python builder.
Ah, yes. Very good point.
So that's why they need to do those things. And then, like, if you do need to use a S2I builder that isn't a part of OpenShift, which we have, like Ruby, Python, blah, 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 right? You can't do that. And you can completely customize it.
Yeah, this blog post is a pretty extensive example where you're starting with a Docker file and then extending the Docker image. And so, yeah, I think we're skipping over a lot of what's defined here. Hopefully,
the best way to develop, man, is just to like skip over what you don't need, right? Like
just magic. It's the best way to learn is have everything solved by magic.
So you told me Ruby then, huh? No,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, awesome. All right. So git status.
So
the
other link I just posted in there is overriding S2I builder scripts, which goes into the overriding aspect of, hey, we want to just do what we're doing. But anyways, they both have all the details.
Okay. So what I'll definitely do is I'll keep these and put these on the YouTube video also for future selves, because I have a feeling people are going to want to, like, I know for a fact S2I build process is a very valuable topic, especially when you start digging in deeper and deeper into OpenShift, because you need to, your future self will be very, very happy that you understand how the build process works, because that time you push something out to production, it takes everything down because you forgot to do some integration tests. Not good. Not good. So this is wonderful. This is actually one of the biggest questions I've had with OpenShift is how the hell all this stuff works. So this is great. This is perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and git add everything. right? Because we have our new S2I, dot S2I, right? We've got our
Yep.
bin, or S2I. We've got our bin, our symbol. Do we need to change mod exit?
That's a good question. You may as well mark it +X, I guess.
Do you know, Ryan, you're going to learn that, I'm not just a pretty face. I do
Yeah,
think.
yeah. You don't just mark things executable just for fun.
777 everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Huh.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we do examples and things. It just needs to work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. He might be
No.
moving things around. It's fine. Look at the screen.
Yeah.
Security is a very important aspect. It definitely is. And limiting that access is a part of that.
This build process, though, actually is, from a security perspective, really something that helps reduce the, I think, the risk involved in running hosted builds on a system.
So you're trying to say this is easier for me because I don't have to do Docker build, push it to my registry, and then pull it and do all that crap. And it's better for why is it better for security?
Well, so one of the nice things with S2I and Builda is the output of the resulting image. There's some complexity in how it builds the image, but the overall kind of developer interface that you need to interact with is kind of reduced to just either that assemble script or a run script. And so you have kind of explicit opportunities to extend it, but you don't need to go in and monkey with a Docker file or something, hopefully, right? If you do need to go to that level of extending the Docker file, some of that's abstracted out into being kind of like admin scope level work. And so it's nice to have, I think, a good split architecturally between who's producing the base images and who's maintaining security of the underlying system, and who is responsible. Like, if we're supposed to be using Python 3, is there a way of enforcing that, and whose responsibility is it? The team lead of each particular team, or is that something that's standardized as part of the default Python image that's made available in the cluster? And so there's multiple ways of approaching that standardization process. And I think OpenShift allows you to enforce it at a very fundamental level by having someone in the ops team say, PEP 8 is going to be, whether you like it or not, PEP 8 is a fundamental part of the build process. We're going to extend the default image to always run it.
And
you guys have to have good linted Python code, and it's
mandated.
Build.
There's no other way in the Python universe. This is the only way. Yeah.
And it did exactly what we wanted. Did you see that? Like, it failed exactly how we wanted it to. Yeah.
So yeah, we need to fix those 2 blank lines and then get it working.
Yep.
But that is really good because, I mean, one, yeah, I'm not running a build locally and then having to do all this stuff to push that build out and do all of that. That's cool for me because that saves me time, right? I just push to get, the webhook does its thing. But from the security aspect, right, like, we're mandating and we're able to do mandate for certain things. We're able to specify certain things, and we're using builder images that have been vetted somehow, right? That these are good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's what it's
understanding you correctly, which sounds like I am, which is awesome.
Okay. And as you did see too, because the webhook did work how we expected it to, it kicked off the build as soon as I pushed up to master. There we go. It's already gone.
And is it
It's already
gonna
pushing it.
pass? Will it pass?
That is the best question.
That's the question.
And legitimately being able to extend S2I with that assemble script now and actually have an example of that, that's money right there. That is something that we can go and show to a lot of people because this is something really, really interesting. Maybe add atomic or cloud forms too. Well, I don't actually know. What are cloud forms? I don't know what that is. Do you know what cloud forms is?
So cloud forms a way to.
I know atomic is the container. Or is someone trolling us?
So yeah. Well, I would love to show off the latest atomic and cloud forms. Atomic, the latest is Rel Core OS, and man, cloud forms, the latest is probably
I'm not sure.
cloud.redhat.com.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's what it would be. But hey,
Yeah.
we are kind of using Red Hat Core OS probably underneath this, I would assume.
Yeah, I think it is.
OpenShift 4.3, right?
Yeah, it is. It's Core OS underneath it. That is correct.
Yeah.
By the way, there's our PEP 8 running PEP 8.
It worked.
And
Nice.
it installed how we expected it to. And then it pushed successful. So then we should be able to go back over here. Oh, that was that failed build.
6
So,
looks good. What's the what's this error?
yeah, what's going on here? What's going on
Crash
here?
loop back off, huh?
So even though we've got linted code, that code doesn't run anymore. What happened?
But wait, that's 7. We haven't pushed to 7. We've only had 6. Is this the deployment one now? Like the build passed, but the deployment didn't?
Yeah,
Right?
drill in,
No.
see what's going on. All
It
the
is
pods
very
not
angry.
running, so we can't. You could click on the events and see maybe was there any weirdness with that. No, we don't want to stream events.
It doesn't seem like we do.
Container not ready. Yeah. So not ready might mean that it's not passing the readiness or let's see, liveness or readiness probes are failing or something.
Is there a way to find the errors?
Is there logs available on that pod? If you click on the pod there's nothing in the logs yet. And then the other place in overview, is there anything about it could be that it's not displaying logs because it doesn't think it's ready yet. You could also check events would be the other thing to look at.
Here's the container details. Trying to do live Windows probe against health. Yeah, it's not doing anything. Yes, Babe Cafe, you were right. We have build 6 that is successful, but for some reason build 7 showed up out of nowhere. We're trying to figure out where the hell this came from. Or at least, hopefully, because this seems kind of weird. Yeah. See, build.
Yeah, build 6 completed. I don't know why 7.
Yeah, build 5 failed because of the PEP stuff, which is what we did, and we fixed it. And then all of a sudden, this build 7 shows up, but there are no logs. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that'll run it. That's weird.
So there's
Can we just delete this?
Well, I mean, so
Did
right
our-
now the app is up and running, right? But yeah, I don't know why that.
So we bought. I guess we messed up something in the assemble script. Maybe assemble was running pip install, and our current pip we had pip install in the assemble script, right?
Yes.
Maybe we need to do another copy after the pip install or something. Let's see. I'll see if I could find the existing Python base image.
Okay.
The existing. I think I have that. Let me send that in the chat. Pretty sure
Alright.
that's where it is, right?
Yeah, this looks like it would be the place to look. So, did we pick Python 3.6? Was that
Yes.
the one?
3.6.
So we can look at that particular. Oh goodness, there's a lot in that assemble script.
The existing assembler.
Oh, so we overwrote it completely. We did
So,
not.
yeah. It
Maybe
looks like
that's,
it's not an extend or like a post assemble hook. It's you're replacing it. So we could use this as the basis and then add our pip 8.
Wow, that is a surprisingly frustrating, in my opinion, because I would like it to extend it. I did not want to like do all of this. Like I would have never saw that myself.
Yeah,
We
there
need
may
to-
be a hook that you can run. I know there was a instead of defining a symbol, you could define some type of let's see. There was additional hooks that aren't mentioned in this blog post.
So me being lazy, because that's the best developers out there, I would want to use this whole thing to be standard, which is fine. And then the things that we want to fail before doing anything else at the very top, right? Like we want to make sure PEP passes before doing any of this stuff, right? Because it's top to bottom, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff going on in here that like there's a ton. You're right. There's a ton going on in here. But as long as we
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's doing things like upgrading pip, checking about Django and all that stuff. Yeah. So if you're going to fail the PEP 8, then you might as well put that in the beginning and not run the rest of the build or whatever.
All right, I think I'm going to request a revert. Can we revert our last commit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get revert and push the whatever. Yeah, the go back one commit. Check out them. Yeah, before we extended this. Go back a couple commits and push it to master and just wipe out a couple steps and take a look at the link that I have in the chat.
This one?
Yeah, and that's on a 3.4 cluster. Let me go and make sure we've got something similar for build hooks on 4.3.
Oh, so this is instead of overriding the S2I built-in assemble, we're just adding a build hook which runs after that, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So there's a post commit build hook, and I'll put in a link to the 4.3 documentation. So this has information on a post commit you can add to the build config resource. And so you can add just a single shell command in here. So we could probably add the pip8 command, kind of just like this.
So build config.
And then at the end of the file, there's also a CLI example of using OC set build dash hook.
So there's a post commit right there. So that's what we're looking for, right? Post commit? Yep. So we do post commit script copy. Right, script is what we want.
So in that case, then I guess this is running one command. Do we specify and add
This guy.
pep8 in our requirements.txt now?
I think it is. It is already now.
Or is it already in there? Is it in there already?
Yep. It's already in there.
Okay, so it's okay.
Cool.
So we should be good.
Famous last words.
Should be good. Exactly.
So then we can take away those guys to pep8 app.py. Like that?
I believe so. That looks right.
All right. And then I'm going to do get restore app, get status, get add, get status, get commit. Reverting changes and failing build. All right, so that should now fail the build for us. Here we go. Maybe.
Will it work?
Just thinking about it. Installing our dependencies. There we go. It ran pep8 again.
Excellent.
That did not work as expected.
No, that's fine because I removed
Pep8, well, Pep8 failed is what I meant.
Yeah. So with that logic, we should be able to go to app now and then add 2 spaces there. And just to verify, we do not have that .s2i directory anymore either. Just to make sure that it's not cheating on us, right? So if we got this right, this should be exactly what we need now.
So this involves extending the build config, which generally is something that is often produced by individual developers. And so this approach is kind of probably a little bit harder to enforce from a system administration or team lead perspective. You could have what I would probably do in order to package this solution up and offer it to my developers is have this build config predefined along with a deployment config, and then have that in the developer catalog so that folks in my team can just check out kind of an existing stack where we've already done a lot of the legwork to establish the specific port number we want for our team and the right type of linting, and then the average developers can benefit from the kind of precedent that I've established and then packaged up via the basically a template. An OpenShift template would be how I'd package it up.
So how do you extend that? So you go into what is it, OpenShift Marketplace or OpenShift namespace or whatnot, and then look at one of those templates?
What I would do, like if I wanted to package up exactly what we have done as a team today, I'd probably rerun the OC new app with the what is it? There's a command to there's -o JSON, and then there's a --dry run. And if you run dry run, instead of marshaling up all the JSON or YAML and sending it to the API, it can just output it to the command line. So what I would do is probably use the command line to run that new app and generate my build config and my deployment config, and then take the results, all that JSON or YAML, and I would drop that into a new YAML file that has type equals template.
Spec.
Yeah, spec equals template, right? And so I'd wrap up all of those objects into one template, and then I can do OC create on that template file in order to add it to the developer catalog.
Right.
But that is all using the template broker, which is in some medium amount of I'm not sure what the long-term future is for template broker, but it's there's still a decent support available for it currently. Longer term, you could also try packaging up these solutions as a Helm 3 chart, and that's a little bit more in lines with maybe how the generic Kubernetes community would expect to package something up. And if you are going the Helm 3 route, there's already excellent support in our UI for going that particular route instead of templates. But templates is the way I've been doing things classically throughout the OpenShift 3 series and the start of the OpenShift 4 series.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, you could definitely package up these these ones specifically.
Nice. I figured in the DevRel world, you can always never assume that this OpenShift cluster is going to be around next week, right? Because things blow up because things are expensive. But it's really nice. I wanted to your point when you were saying that, what I did is I just outputted the build config and deployment config, which are the two most important parts being manipulated, into YAML files and just committed them in, just so at least I can reference them later to be like, what do we do with this thing again? Which I thought was interesting. If you look, there we go.
Oh,
so
nice.
That was interesting. Yeah.
Did you do? Did you get these via OC Get DC?
Yeah, that's exactly what I
Okay,
did.
OC Get DC. Yeah, there's also a export version of this that's supposed to strip out some things like the version, since we're fetching it and it was a resource that was successfully created. It's going to have some fields defined in this resource, like creation timestamp is going to be defined, and then so if you try to do OC create off of the version you have, it's going to be like, oh, I can't create this because it already has a creation timestamp. So I think there's some, like, you can try to do this is a great reference, but it won't necessarily be something that people can use in order to initiate their project. The export example might be something to look into to make this a little bit more shareable, or like I was saying, the original OC new app with that dry run flag would generate the original, like a fresh build config and a fresh deployment config.
Awesome.
So then you'd still need to add in the post commit on your own.
On there, do like a diff and add in the post commit or whatever.
Right. Yeah. But now that we know specifically what 3 fields to add, it's a easier task to do that. Yeah.
I like that.
Awesome. Well, we are coming up to 3 hours and 30 minutes. I know I'm tired. My brain is tired. I'm not going to lie.
How'd we do on the checklist?
We did everything.
Excellent.
I mean, arguably we did not actually explicitly do security checking, but the ability to know that we can just drop PEP8 inside of the pipeline to do security, unless there's something very specific you'd like to add about security, Ryan. Is there something you want to talk about?
The only other things I can think of is right now there's the base layers of this Python image are something that's automatically going to be audited. Usually if you have a enterprise OpenShift environment, you'd have a Quay server and use as your container registry. And so that can do a lot of security automation. If folks in the public are interested in trying it out for free, you can hop on over to quay.io, sign up for a free account, and even on our free registries, we do security analysis. So if you are more on the either team lead or ops side of the equation, and you wanted to make sure the base layers of the image, like the version of Python, is packaged and up to date, you could create a new organization or a new repo in here, and this will automatically use Claire to do static analysis of the base layers of your image. And then, of course, you're also going to want to make sure you're thinking about security at every layer of that image. There's application code that you may want to monitor in a different way using PEP or other things. So there's kind of different areas of involvement depending on where you sit within your team that you can get involved in. So Quay is getting better integration, a more tighter integration with the OpenShift dashboard over time. So this is a great place to look currently, especially for lower level security information.
Just going to say, I had to squat that namespace.
Yeah.
Got to be on brand. Got to be on brand.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, no, this is good. This is really good. I really don't use Quay. I really should. As you can see, I haven't pushed things into it. My habit is still, I just go to Docker Hub. But you're right. I should be using Quay because Quay has so many more features, and also it helps out my Red Hat brethren, which is what I should be doing.
Yeah, you don't get security analysis for free on Docker Hub. I think you need the paid repos to do security.
Don't you get like, you could get automated builds too if you have a Docker file in your repo and you're not using OpenShift, but you want to create a container image of that thing? You could just point Quay to your GitHub repo and it'll build out that Docker file.
Exactly. Yeah, you could use webhooks and image streams and have Quay be potentially a part of the build process as well. But yeah.
Quay's
So
awesome.
you're bringing me back to Vim. You're bringing me back to Vim. You're forcing me to use Quay. I'm using this thing called OpenShift now. Yeah, but I'm going to earn that little thing behind me one of these days.
Excellent.
I'm going to earn it one of these.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
There you go. Well, I'm happy where we are. I'm going to take off the screen share. If we want to just kind of finish off the conversation, and then we can say goodbye. You want to do that?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. I think this was, I'm excited about seeing how the security checks and the PEP integration went with this. I haven't upped my game on Python as far as doing linting and security checks as part of my build process. So I think this was really cool seeing how I could quickly integrate it. In a variety of ways, ones that do clobber my build process and others that kind of more lightly extend it. But either route's useful depending on how heavy you want to customize or extend the experience.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree. Like, I think that like we did some pretty cool stuff. Like, we even touched on, even though we decided not to use it, which iterative process, we decided, hey, like this isn't the right way, switched it from, completely customizing that sourced image build to using the post build hooks that are a part of OpenShift already, right? So like that was pretty awesome and that's cool. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you on like getting linting and all of that stuff. Like that's an easy, like, hey, why is this not done like already in my type of builds, right? That should be something that I should be doing already. I think that's valuable.
Awesome. Yeah, no. And it sounds like we all learned something, which is the ultimate goal of any of these streams is for us all to like actually learn something that we haven't had, where just a bunch of nerds can come together and, get to actually hack on something we get to talk about. So cool. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye here as soon as I click the button. And I really do need to get one of those stream decks now because Ryan had made me horribly jealous about his clapping noise.
Ryan's got the streaming setup down with the green screen and the buttons and everything.
There you go. Yep. Hey, I got a plant this week. You got to give me that much, right? I got a plant in the background here.
I like it.
Anyway,
I appreciate it.
All right, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye now. Bye.
Thanks all. This has been fun. See you next time.
See you guys.